Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a brilliant young entrepreneur who is changing the way you look at athletic wear. Her journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team. And the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Okay, have you ever had a brilliant idea and you say to yourself, somebody ought to do something, and then you wake up and then somebody did it and it wasn't you? Well, Amy Robbins is the CEO and co-founder of Alexo Athletica, and she's in studio. You made it happen.
Thank you. You know, I had many of those moments in my life with many other products. And so I think when this idea came to me, I said, I can't let this happen to me on this one.
Okay, so describe what you've done, and then what was the germ of the idea?
Yeah, so the basis of Alexo Athletica, it is concealed carry activewear. We started by making activewear just for women, but over the last year, we actually have expanded to our men's line as well, because we found out that men like to carry self-defense tools, phones, keys, and everything in their athletic wear as well.
And it's very sleek and stylish. And so I want to show a little video, and I want you to kind of narrate. What were you going for when you came up with this?
Well, so back when I started this was about 2015, I lived in activewear, as I think 90% of the women in the United States of America did. So we were wearing, you know, the famous activewear of the day, probably Lululemon mostly. So it's comfortable, it looks good, it feels good, and you can go about your active life while you're wearing activewear. And so I wanted to make sure that it had that exact same appeal before, I made anything.
Well, I remember, it seems like every couple months you hear about a woman who's out jogging who gets, attacked.
Yep.
And there was really no comfortable way to even carry mace, was there?
No. So how this all started, I actually was out training for a marathon, the White Rock Marathon, actually. So I was training up where I lived at the time. I always felt very, very safe. I never carried a self-defense tool on my body at that point. But this one day, I went out running, and I actually got followed and harassed by a van full of about 7 men. It's a very scary situation for me. And I say I'm very lucky because the problem didn't escalate beyond that. But what it did do is I ran home. I said, I will never feel helpless and defenseless again. I'm going to do something about this. So I started looking on the internet. I had been involved in the firearm industry a couple of years before that. So I was very aware that the clothes that were in the industry were very tactical, very bulky, not pretty, and not comfortable. So I said, I need a way to carry. I went to go get my license to carry. I'm going to need a way to carry that on my body. But there was nothing on the market. And I said, it's basically got to look and feel as good as my current activewear. And with no background in manufacturing, no background in design, I did not let that stop me. I said, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to figure this out. And I'm going to do this because I was seeing how many women, about 80% of women at that point, were carrying some form of self-defense tool, mace, a taser, firearm, concealed carry permits were on the rise. So women needed places to store things on their body.
So the very early prototypes, is it you with a sewing machine trying to adjust some activewear?
No, I took a few pairs of, I had a bunch of friends in the firearm industry. So I have a background in the entertainment industry. So a lot of my friends were in the fashion industry, and I took some just basic leggings. But the problem was there was no reinforcement within the waistband. So if you tried to clip a holster, you tried to clip something into it, they just sagged, or they fell down, or your tool flopped over, and there were no pockets in these pants. So I just sent them a bunch. I said, we got to reinforce it. We got to figure out how to make it sturdy enough that whatever, weight, the common firearm or whatever tools women are going to carry needs to be able to stay in the pants without it falling, without it flopping over. And so, we went through almost 2 years worth of R&D trying to figure out what, getting the sizing down, getting the construction, but most importantly, making sure that everything was nice and safe so that you could store things safely within these compartments.
And your company has really grown. We're going to show your website, and as we scroll down the website, you'll see you have many more offerings than you did when you first started.
Oh yes, we do.
Like, are you always dreaming of new garments, or?
Yeah, I mean, my husband and I both are. Actually, the men's line, he was the one that was really pushing us to do men's, and he was like, Amy, I need something that's going to carry a Glock 19. I need it to be comfortable. He's like, men also don't like having to put belts on and carry bulky Kydex holsters all the time when you just need to run out the door to go get something done. So he helped me a lot with that. I'm constantly evolving. I'm very involved with a business organization, nonprofit here in Dallas that I meet with the top CEOs in all of Dallas. And so I have to dress up a little bit more now than just walking in leggings and sports attire. So we actually created a skirt a couple of years ago, and that skirt has taken me through many meetings because I can actually dress it up. And that's the cool thing about Alexo.
Yeah.
It is activewear, but you can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can wear it when you're going out on a night on the town, you can wear it to work. And so that's the versatility, and I think the genius behind the line is that you can wear it for any of your occasions.
Sure, and you probably didn't predict that you would be a media spokesperson for the Second Amendment. So I caught this clip on Fox News, and they're interviewing you here. Does that feel good to be able to have that kind of platform?
Absolutely, it does. I mean, I always wanted to do something with broadcast. I thought I was going to go into sports broadcasting. I knew I wanted to host, but when this opportunity presented me to actually work with the NRA, they were building one of the first of their kind owned media platforms, which just really didn't exist back in 2013. So to get to have a platform to do what I love, which I love hosting, I love interviewing people, but also get to do it around an issue that is so incredibly important to me, and then continue to help bring more women into the fold. That has just been, I'm like, I couldn't have planned it any better. I thank God every day. I'm like, you laid this on my lap, you gave me this platform, and I am so thankful that I get to go and talk to millions of women every single day about issues that are so important to us as Americans. And yeah, I'm very blessed.
That's outstanding. Another thing you're passionate about is people getting involved in the process and voting.
Yep. Oh, yes.
We're going to put a website up, and I want you to talk about this organization.
Yeah, so this organization, it's a fairly new business organization, nonprofit, 501c6, and Alexo got involved in it because, like you said, I was typically involved in very national issues like the Second Amendment. But during COVID, I think we started to see how once the business community shut down, how many people's lives were affected by that. And we started seeing patterns, the business owners did in Dallas, we started seeing patterns that were going to take Dallas down the same path that many other cities saw. Los Angeles, New York, Portland, Seattle. You see all these major, wonderful cities start to crumble when the businesses shut down and people were leaving in droves. And we said, we do not want this to happen. But what we noticed was that people just don't get involved in local elections. And the local city governments actually have a lot more authority and power than I ever knew.
No kidding.
I had no idea. I'm embarrassed to say I don't think I'd ever voted in a local election until I joined MCBA. Okay. And now we've got our entire staff voting in all of our local elections. And we just want to make a difference by getting people involved in the process.
And what does MCBA stand for?
It stands for the Metroplex Civic and Business Association.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. I know you can't make any formal announcements right here, but something tells me there's a political career in the future.
You know, I think when you get involved, a lot of people get the bug. When you start to see, especially as a business owner, we run our businesses on KPIs and accountability. And when you start to see that that is not happening, especially at the local level, I think for most of us who own businesses, we're action takers. We want to see something happen. Sure. So even though I don't know if my husband wants me to do that, I'll never say never, but it's not in the plans right this second.
Okay, so where can people get your activewear? Is it in stores or is it online? Or?
So we actually do have a few stores in Dallas. Texas Gun Experience is one of our retailers. We've got several other smaller ones that have got some of our stuff, but mostly we're direct to consumer. So just go to alexoathletica.com and you can check out everything we have. We do sell out pretty quickly of our inventory.
Well, and I also want to brag on you because you have 2 young children at home.
I do. We had 2 babies. It was like back to back during the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, what I love about that is that you are a brilliant entrepreneur, great mom, great wife. You are doing it all.
Thank you.
So what is your advice for women watching this right now saying, I want to be her?
You know what? I always tell women that your dreams never expire. Go for it. So don't let what you don't know or what you don't have experience in keep you from doing what you want to do. Had I done that, I would have never started Alexo Athletica. Had I been afraid that the manufacturing process was going to be difficult, how do you find a designer? How do you find how do you grow a business? I didn't know any of that stuff. And had I let that keep me from doing it, we never would have been able to help the millions of women that we want to help. And so you never know what you're capable of until you go and do it.
You're a very strong leader. Where'd you get this from? Is it mom, dad, both?
You know, my dad said I'm just like him, and we have very similar personalities. My dad is an incredible leader, and so I learned a lot from his leadership throughout the years.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to end with her website, which is alexoathletica.com. The great Amy Robbins. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.